So, finally, who hasn't raised their hand so far? Lovely. So I know that some of you are basically here because you think AI is an exciting topic and thinking and wondering about the ramifications on society. Like, what's the impact of that? How will it affect all of us? And you've been sitting through the business side and the data science side of this talk, so let me tell you a joke. Here's a man kneeling on the street and saying, I'm looking for my quarter that I dropped. And the police officer says, did you drop it here? No, I dropped it 2 blocks down the street. Then why are you looking here? Because the light is better. And this is actually a psychological effect. This is an effect that's called the streetlight effect, which says humans intuitively search where it's easiest to search. Like, you don't crawl under the table unless you have to. You look at all the other places first, and only if someone tells you to, if there's no other choice, then you will crawl under the table and search there. And it's quite similar when you search for insights in your data. So this is a hypothetical landscape of data, right? And we know that in that landscape of data, there's all these interesting things that you could discover, but you need to know where to look. And there are certain constraints on you looking. Like, there's a time constraint if you're doing this professionally. You have maybe 2 days in order to find something, which means that you can't look everywhere, but you'll look at the places that are sort of most likely to yield a result that you have at the end of your project. So you selectively look at this data space and not comprehensively. And just to illustrate how real this is, this is a typical data set that the data scientist may analyze as part of his or her job. In fact, it's one of the most valuable data sets that I've seen in the past 5 years because it's the data from the United States Environmental Protection Agency, in which they tested personal vehicles for their emission data. So this is a data set that has an inherent value if you know where the value is. If you don't know, then you just have a bit of data and you don't know where to start. So what the fact of automating the data science process really does is that it says, well, let me traverse the landscape of all the potential interesting sites and landmarks of that data set, and let me show the results for you. Here's one result. So this is derived automatically from the prior data set. This is a correlation analysis of NOx and CO2, which says that, here's a correlation, here's a bunch of outliers, and the outlier up here is the Volkswagen Touareg, right? If you don't know, if you haven't looked for that one, you won't find it. But if a system can automatically show this to you, that's good, right? Because then all of a sudden you've gained knowledge. And this is really a great thing about automating the data science process, is because it kind of allows you to push beyond human intuition. It says, here's usually I have an intuition about something that I might care about, and I have knowledge that I gain when exploring this. But there's actually more in the data. There's more in the data that you could potentially care about if you only knew about it. And now you have a structured process driven by AI that says, look, here are things that we can raise to your intuition that you can think about and then consider whether you would like to know more about it. And that's the true value add of this particular piece of AI. So the question really is, what will you find in your data? And these are my top 10 or top 8 actually from the last 3 years of doing business in this space. Will you find a network of fraudsters that are emptying bank accounts, as we did for top 10 international bank? Will you find abnormal spending of your external consultants that you hired, as we did in the data for a government agency? Will you find mishandled business loans, as we did for a top 3 German bank? I mentioned the outliers in vehicle emissions, but then there's also damage in German train station, underpaid employees actually, or that your IT cloud is actually located in the wrong country. The last one is my favorite. Someone discovered that their target audience of their online business is actually women. Right? And the last one is striking me as so very poignant in this, because it's not as if the question was difficult to ask, like, are women our target audience of our business? It's just that these guys that are driving their online shop, they never asked the question. And they told us about that in the dinner. over dinner with also their investor present, and the investor was looking at them in disbelief and saying, I can't believe you never asked a question, right? Because it's obvious in hindsight, but at the time, these business people just didn't think about it. So, thank you very, very much for your attention.